Once again, we're going to solve, and we're going to use our order of operations to help us do this, to think through. So we're going to write GEMDAS, and because I am solving, I'm going backwards because I'm solving. So you just have to keep that in mind. So the first thing I want to do is I want to see if I have any grouping going on, because grouping is going to be the last thing that I do. And in fact, I do have a grouping symbol. If you recall, our division is a grouping symbol, which means I have a group on the top and I have a group on the bottom. Now the other thing is yes, our X is right here inside this group. So I need to get that X from out of the group. So let me just write a little note here that X is grouped, in the denominator. So I have two things going on. First of all, it's grouped, it's in jail. Second of all, it's in the denominator. I don't like it in the denominator, so I have to get it out of the denominator. So this is what I want you to think about, and we're going to just do a little bit of thinking over here on the side. So I'm going to rewrite this so that I have A minus C over X minus A equals M. Okay? But what I want you to think about is I want you to pretend that A minus C is the same thing as E. Okay, so let's just let that happen. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do in a minute. And then let's also pretend that, I'm going to write this over here, let's also pretend that X minus A is D. Okay, so what are we doing? We're simply going to, if you see that this and this are the same, and this and this are the same. I'm just going to simplify this visually for you. So if AC is the same as E, and X minus A is the same as D, what I'm showing you is that these two right here, aren't they essentially the same? They look the same, don't they? I have something divided by something equals something. So let's just look at this because this is easier to deal with, and then what we learn here will apply to what we need to solve. So I'm going to rewrite this. So if I have E divided by D equals M, I want to get this D out of the denominator because that's what I'm solving for. I'm solving for the grouping. I have to get the group alone. So that means that I would have to do the inverse operation. This is in the denominator, so I'm going to multiply in the numerator. What I do to one side, I do to the other. So we know that D divided by D is 1. So that leaves me with E equals M times D, right? Well, remember, D was in my denominator, and I wanted to solve for that. So I'm almost done, which means I just need to undo this multiplication of M. So that means I'm going to divide both sides by M. So then that gives me E over M is equal to D. Okay. So what we did here, we're going to do with this one. And I'm going to show you it's going to work very much the same. I'm going to rewrite this right here so that we can see it a little bit side by side. So I have A minus C over X minus A equals M. Okay. So this is a grouping, and this is a grouping. So get in the habit of marking your groupings. We're solving for x. X is in jail right now. I got to get x out of the jail. And I don't like it in the denominator, so it needs to be in a new location. So if I want to get this one number, this is one number, out of the denominator, I need to multiply it in the numerator on both sides. So if you look here, this is similar to what I just did here. So that means that this actually, the same number divides out to 1. So those divide out. And I did that by design. So that means now I'm left with a minus c is equal to m times x minus a. So I'm solving for x, yes? Solving for x. Well, let's look here. Here I was solving for d, so I had to get the m that's being multiplied to the d. I have to divide that out. Same thing here. Just think of this as one thing. So I have to divide that m out. Everything. Okay, so m divided by m is 1. So then that leaves me over here with a minus c divided by m is equal to x minus a. Well, that's very similar to this. The only thing I have left to do now is I want to get x by itself, so I have to do, again, whatever's easiest, which would be adding a to both sides. Let me do that in red. I'm going to add a to both sides. So I just have to be careful on how I write this out. Notice I'm keeping track of my equal sign. Be very, very, very aware of that. So my equal sign is here. What do I have on the left side? I have a minus c all divided by m, and then I have this plus a. And then the only thing I'm left with here is x. So this is kind of a complicated problem, but if you just think about to get the group by itself, and then you're undoing whatever is easiest first. So whatever is easiest would be addition, subtraction, which I didn't have. I had multiplying and dividing, which I had to undo. And then once I released it from the group, so once I got the group alone, which was right here, then it was easier to deal with.